Hey Wargamers, welcome back to the channel, Death from Above Wargaming. I'm Aaron, and I am here with Thom and Dom on a special night for an exciting 10th episode of Jump Point. We are going to be talking all about the close of the Kickstarter. We're also going to do a little bit of a rapid fire, a little bit of a round table, but first we are going to dive in to the amazing results behind the Kickstarter. So some revised numbers, some final pack counts and things along those lines. Rough estimate on number of models. Tom, you want to give us some data here on what we're looking at?
Let me put my glasses on and my little cap. Yeah, so I mean, the Kickstarter ended strongly. It's finished up and it ended up funding at $7.54 million. Drastically beating their goal of $50,000.
50,000.
50,000. Yeah. So some high level numbers just to start. We're talking 23,000 individual backers and the average pledge of $319. So the fact that they opened up a whole nother round of Kerenskis or big kappas, that's I think 3 rounds of big kappas that they ended up opening up. So that's that skews it a little bit, but let's compare it to the Clan Invasion Kickstarter number for number. So again, if everybody remembers, that finished at 2.5 million. So it's 5 million more. There were 11,200 backers of the Clan Invasion. So again, actually more than doubled the total number of backers.
Right.
And the average pledge was only 229 for the Clan Invasion. So not only did they have more pledges, but the pledge amounts were higher as well. Yeah. So that's you can't call it anything but a fantastic success, right? So congratulations to Catalyst on this successful Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Anybody want to jump in before I continue?
Well, I was going to say it's interesting with those numbers. It's roughly double the backers, but triple from like a dollar perspective, right? So kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean. I don't know if you want to get into like the reward tiers yet, or the stretch goals actually is what I meant to say. But I really think they ended up driving some strong end growth, which blew past 3 stretch goals that we were really wondering. They could have petered out around 5.5 million, but it picked up steam. They kept announcing more and more stretch goals, and up to 8 million. And people, I think everybody started tweaking their pledges, bumping them up more, trying to get that next stretch goal. So very good strategy there. Yeah. In terms of, now if we move to what you get, at the end, considering all the stretch goals that were unlocked. So where do we start at your base pledge, and where did you end up after all the unlocked stretch goals up to $7 million? Because 7.5 didn't have any new packs, so we're just going to not mention that. So, we're focusing mainly on the veteran, company, battalion, and regiment. That's where you get a mercenaries box, right? And then the cap is an outlier because you're overspending for 2 years of free product and all the, regalia that comes along with being the BMOC, right?
Right.
now at every,
Big man.
So at Adepticon they get a special badge, I'm sure, or something like that.
It's big kappa on campus. BKO.
Yeah.
BKOC. Actually, not BKOC. That was, I don't know about that one. That might.
BCOC, yeah. Okay. Well, so, so the veteran really ended up lagging far behind. Almost no stretch goal changed. They didn't get any packs. They didn't get any salvage. Oh no, they did. They ended up getting 1 more salvage. Company, battalion, regiments, where almost all the chatter was about, because that's where, based on the stretch goals, what was the best value just kept kind of fluctuating. But I still say that our original analysis of battalion being the sweet spot for mechs specifically held up even after the stretch goals. So if you look at the chart that Aaron prepared, you can see that at the base, a company got 2 packs and then unlocked 2 more. So it literally doubled the packs at the end of that 7 million stretch.
Right.
The battalion started at 6, ended up at 11, but you also ended up with I think 1 extra salvage. So, you're getting closer. And then regiment, started with 12, ended up with 17. So you can see that, the regiment started less than double the cost with double the packs. But they really beefed up battalion a little bit. So I think, if all you were focused on was mech packs, battalion still was the way to go. We did some analysis on, what are you spending per box, and that averages out to about, 37 at the low end or at the high end for company, to the low end of 25 for battalion. So even by, sheer dollars, battalion is still the best bet. So I don't know how you guys feel, but I think we're all on the same page with that, right?
Yeah, battalion was, I think, definitely where the value was. I mean, just speaking for myself, I did 1 regiment and 3 battalions. So, I kind of costed it all together, and that, yeah, I know that's what my bank manager says. So yeah, definitely the battalions where the value is. Yeah.
Yeah, and what Thom did this time was, there was a lot of comments saying, well, you can't analyze it based on 4, you have to do it on 5 or 7, but a divisor is a divisor. But we did do analysis here across, price per mini across, if you bought everything at 8, everything at 5, everything at 4, depending on how you wanted to slice and dice it, and still battalion was the best one at every, no matter what you divide it by, right? And you're talking about a couple of, 50 cents or whatever per unit.
But it's really not a lot, yeah.
Similarly, it's not insignificant. But regiment and battalion were definitely the leaders. Company was I think significantly further behind those two.
Yeah, and I had done some, Aaron, you and I talked, and I did a little bit of analysis on, if you waterfall through the packs that are available and you wanted to buy one of every pack based on what tier you bought into, how many extra add-ons would you have to add, right? So I think we ended up with 16 or 17 individual boxes. Dom, I thought maybe do you remember how many total boxes we unlocked?
It was 16, right, Thom? When we counted them with the legendary box and then the 2 new vehicle packs, I think it was 16.
Yes, I think so.
So
that's really off the top of my head, but yeah.
I'll count here over. So this is the most recent one, right? 6 million. I'll count them while you're chatting.
Yeah. So at the battalion level, if you get 11 total boxes with your individual pledge, you have to add on 5 boxes. And so, depending on how if you get all the vehicle packs in your pledge and all of the inner sphere packs and get an extra salvage to bump you up to 5, and then buy the clan boxes, you can end up where are you going to end up in terms of your total spend? And with regiment coming in at 17, you actually can get one of everything with your single pledge of 500. But the battalion will come in around 420, I think, 425, if you buy the 5 extra add-ons. So if all you care about is getting one of everything, the regiment or the battalion is still a cheaper way to do it, right? But if you do 2 battalions, you actually end up with 2 clan boxes, and you're getting, what is that, 12 minis in the clan box, I think, something like that, because you get a couple vehicles, right?
It'll be. When the clan box is, if it's the Mac one, it's 5 in each.
I'm sorry, mercenaries. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are 16 packs according to what I just counted.
Yeah.
Just one little thing on that. I don't know if they've confirmed yet. I think they may have. I think they may have confirmed it in the Q&As, but the legendary packs should be available within the kind of what you can choose in the Kickstarter. I think there was some debate over that initially because obviously you get more in there, but you're right. I think if you get the regiment level, you should be able to get one of everything now, we think.
And the legendaries, you're getting 6 and 5, so.
Right, the regiment, you get 17, so you should be able to get everything and then one more.
Plus 1.
Right?
Yeah.
And then along with a couple salvage, so.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty interesting. But like I said, if you're still overspending at that level to get all those boxes, when if you just bought them as add-ons and you packed the pledge with all the expensive boxes and bought the cheapest boxes, you could really min-max that. But most people were trying to get 2 of everything. Cough Aaron, cough Dom, you weirdos. So,
Guilty.
all of that math doesn't matter. Then you're talking, people deciding if they want 2 battalions or a battalion and a regiment, and yada yada. So, yeah. So that's
Right.
my analysis. Again, just to recap, huge success for the Kickstarter as itself in terms of all the backers. You basically, if you were on the higher end, you got double of everything. Like your pledge amount got double the amount of rewards from the base. So it really became quite a valuable Kickstarter. They're not $1 a mech, but $3 a mech is not bad at all.
Yeah,
the retail
really,
value
really
is
good.
pretty high. Yeah,
I think in this sector, $3 for one unit is really amazing. I mean, that is not standard.
Yeah, and compare it to a salvage box, which is like an $8 item, right? So that's a single mech for $8.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, agreed. No, it's exciting stuff. So any closing thoughts on this? We'll talk a little bit more in our roundtable about speculations, but in terms of the actual data, any other points here that we want to hit before we move on?
One thing I didn't point out, but I guess maybe I do want to, is we talked about what would the end of the Kickstarter look like. Most Kickstarters have a U shape, the hockey stick ending, and it held true, but not for the clan invasion. It was like a full U, and this one's more like a J, like a backwards J. But that's because the first day was $3 million. Yeah. It was ridiculous. So the last day of the Kickstarter pulled in $899,000. So, almost $1 million. So it did a little under a third of the first day. So quite a good ending. People were really still energized about it. It was cool to see the community so excited about all this different stuff.
Yeah, and I think there's
nobody
something.
was complaining. Yeah.
I don't know about that last piece, but yes, we'll keep it positive. Nobody complained. This is a record on the internet.
Nobody complained. Nobody.
There was zero
Official,
negativity.
You heard it here.
La 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 la.
Yeah. I will say the sort of the shape of the financial curve, if you will, I think speaks volumes to their coordinated marketing effort this time around. We got our hands on stuff early. We were pushing it. I know they were all over with the Backer Kit site, right? There was a lot of email communication and chatter going out. I think.
Well, they hired somebody, right? I think they hired like a coordinator for the Kickstarter, and she did a great job. I mean, shout out, you did great. Because again, the volume of questions and the way that people not get confused, but the slightly, ambiguous language was driving people crazy. And so you needed somebody that was like really on top of that to knock that down before it became a problem.
You do.
And she did
I think it's so really important because, well, they don't even know, right? Like the stretch goals were getting hit quicker than they expected. So they just needed someone to be like, oh, this is what we're going to do. And then corral it all and get it all together, because otherwise, it's like you said, there were times on the comments page where it was just being spammed with people like, what are you doing? What am I getting? So it just needed someone to collate everything. So they did a good job, I think, when you think about everything that happened.
I agree. All right. Well, why don't we move into our rapid fire segment? So, couple of things. We'll go around the horn here. Dom, we'll start with you. The mech or vehicle unit in general, the piece of plastic that you're most excited about.
In terms of the unit that I want,
individual.
It's a weird one. I really want the assassin. I have a real soft spot for the assassin. I know it's
a good one.
A derpy mech, but I think the new sculpt on it's going to look sweet, and it's it really doesn't. It's one of those mechs that you desperately need a refresh from the old one. And the Lance pack that I'm really quite excited about is the security lance. That's the
Okay.
Innisphere security lance, because same reason, but for the Scorpion this time, because the old Scorpion metal model is so horrible, and you can barely put it together without like pinning it 1,000 times within an inch of its life, that I'm just desperately looking forward to getting a normal plastic one that I can just spray paint, and that's it.
It's got some good ones. Whitworth, Vulcan, Scorpion.
Yeah.
So Tom, what's your if you had to pick an individual favorite?
Yep. Easy. The Merlin. I'm very excited to get a newly sculpted Merlin. That's one of the OG mechs that we used to use.
Yeah.
First off, I just want to point out anybody that's not familiar with the Merlin to look it up, because the original like IWM mold is one of my favorites. Even the artwork on like Sarna is great. So I'm looking forward to how and its head is like, it's like a TP kind of thing going on.
Yes.
I really hope Scroggins and Co. were able to keep a little bit of that good flavor, because it was a very distinctive mech. But yeah, what about you? What's yours?
So I was down to two, the Star Slayer, as an individual mech, just because I just think it's such a neat. We looked at it on the render blender. It's just such a neat,
beautiful
design.
Beautiful.
I'm very excited about that. And another one that we looked at, the Whitworth, which I'm very excited about, just because I love that mech. It's just like such a quintessential BattleTech design. But if I had to go with a pack, it's the newest unlocked vehicle pack, which I believe is the Battle and Fire Lances. It's this one. No, I lied. It's this one. Edgar. It's got the J. Edgar, the Drillson, which Tom, incidentally, we just used these in a battle report, which I believe will come out before this video.
Drillson's a lovely little color.
And then the Patton tank, which is like, I like pine for this thing. I love this tank. I just love the design, and the Pike, which is very cool too. Yeah. So that's the one that I am most excited for from a pack perspective. All right, so rapid fire question number 2 here. In the Kickstarter, did it surprise you in terms of the volume, and what was more surprising, the dollar amount or the number of backers? Tom, why don't we start with you?
I think the dollar amount was surprising. I don't know why, but it was. And the amount of backers, like, again, 23,000, something like that. The comment I made is, doubled the clan, but I never paid attention to it in the first place. But when you say it just in a vacuum, like 23,000 doesn't sound like a lot. But for BattleTech, again, Dom, you made that point to me when I was saying this, is like, that's a huge turnout. That's really nice. So, but surprised? Yeah, I guess I was. Yeah. It's a big yes.
Final answer. Big yes. Dom, what about you?
Yeah. I'm going to say, I don't think I was that surprised. I knew it would be like massively successful. I think it went over the like total dollar amount that I thought it would score. Backers, no, because we had a lot of data on the backers anyway, because they'd done that pledge sign up, over the last about 8 weeks ago, I think. We started to kind of see that was getting upwards of like 20,000 people. So, but I think, when you're talking about like 7.5 million, I don't think anyone estimated that. I did see some like outliers saying they thought it would do over 5-6 million, but they were few and far between. I certainly didn't. I thought they'd do between like 3 and 4. So
interesting.
Yeah. Well, once they hit that first day, a lot of those there's like analytics sites that plug into Kickstarter, and like they were saying it could have hit 11 million based on the initial success of it. And I was like, that's I think, I talk about why I wasn't that. I was like, there's no way that's going to happen.
No.
But when it tells you it might happen, you're like, wow, is that actually possible?
You have to keep your eyes open. Well, Catalyst thought it was going to happen because they put an 8 million stretch goal on there. So
which good for them.
It easily could have.
Yeah.
It's interesting how easy it is to make those jumps.
For me, I wasn't So surprised, yes, moderately surprised, like Dom, not like blown away. But the thing that actually surprised me more than the money was the number of backers. That was the thing that got me, because when I look at our channel metrics, I can tell there's about 19,000 people watching, right? Based on the number of subscribers, and YouTube also tells you the percent viewers that are subscribed versus unsubscribed, right? So you can do a little math there. So, the fact that they're over that 18, 19, even into the the low 20,000s, right? Was it 23, 23.5?
23.
That's significant. And then, we didn't talk about this, but on the BackerKit site, 31,000 people or something, right, said they were going to pledge, and they only got 23,000. So there's potentially a very large and growing BattleTech audience out there. Very, very cool. Why don't we move into our Ready Room Roundtable? So we'll continue talking about the Kickstarter here. And speaking of the BackerKit site and the number of backers, right? Do you think that they will reopen this Kickstarter maybe midsummer or in the autumn, similar to what they did for the Clan Invasion? If you remember the Clan Invasion, it took so long, I actually forgot what I spent, and then I went and spent a lot more. So I wonder if they're going to do that again. It's like not a bad tactic. What do you think, Tom? Let's start with you.
I think it depends on two things. One, if they're hitting their delivery goals, I don't think they want to mess with that. So I think that they wouldn't. And two, again, if they get feedback from their vendor, whether or not they can handle the increased volume.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that'd be my. Yeah.
Okay. Dom,
So logistics.
Think?
Yeah.
I 100% think that will happen for the simple reason that they had 31,000+ people on that pre-pledge and then 23,000 signed up. So from their point of view, they'll be looking at it like, well, are we going to pick up several thousand stragglers who couldn't afford to buy it, back in March and April, or, are people were just holding out because they knew we'd open the pledge again, whatever. But I think going on to Tom's point about the kind of the volume level with the factories, I'm guessing they put their orders in like the end of the year, the beginning of the next year. So I think they'll be fine on that, because it's not opening the Kickstarter again is not necessarily going to cause any delays or any problems, because the order won't have been put in anyway. But I suppose they do run the risk that if something happens between now and like September, October, and BattleTech becomes even hotter than it is, and they get another 10,000 people signing up, do they then have to kind of commission another factory to kind of churn out plastic?
Well,
which is,
Yeah. But think about it this way too. So if you're saying there's 30,000 and then the delta, is 6,000 between the backers and the potential ones, that's another 1.2 million at the low end, like a $200 average pledge.
Yep.
That's over another $1 million. Like that's significant, I think.
Significant. Right.
But yeah,
I think as well, you also get people like Aaron and I that spend an excessive amount on this, who might just think, oh, I'm just going for another battalion. Why not?
Why not?
So if you open it up, then you get people doing that. So
here's my question though: does it contribute to the stretch goals, or is that locked after the initial? Like if they reopen it and then they get another 1 million, will they unlock the 8 million or not? I don't know.
I think it. It's I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think we have an answer for that, but given how Catalyst have done the comms on it, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they did something to kind of, throw a curveball at everybody, because it's like for the 8 million stretch goal, which if you don't know and you're watching this, that if we had unlocked that, we would have got the Somerset Strikers pack and the Blood Asp. But I think now we didn't reach the 8 million, and I don't know how much of this is a rumor and how much has been confirmed, but they are going to allow those packs to be, they're going to make them and they're going to have them within the wider Kickstarter you can put as an add-on, but they're not going to be kind of given to us free.
Oh,
but it wouldn't
see, I heard
me
only the
like
Blood Asp. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay. I mean,
it's
I think
all,
there's
it's all
still,
rumor.
we need to be careful. There's a lot of rumors.
No,
around, but
Blood Asp is confirmed. That's
is that
definitely
right? Okay, great.
As a purchase.
Right.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm saying. I think it might be that they open the new autumn Kickstarter, and then that's a bit of the curveball marketing thing of, oh, if we go over this now, then we will do the Somerset Strikers as a free for regiment levels or something like that. They might, they might use that as a bit of a leg up.
Yeah. And all those people that thought they were tapped out, now 6 months later, they're flush. They're flush with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's a sunk cost, right? You've already paid it. And it's easy to contribute more. All right, let's move forward. I want to talk about the June 2024 delivery, and let's make this quick. What are your speculations on that? Are we going to come in early, or is it going to get missed? Dom, why don't we start with you? 30 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, look, just going by the Kickstarter from the last time, it wouldn't. I think there probably will be delays on it. If we're honest, it might be like 3 months. I mean, I'm expecting like autumn 2024 at the moment. Honestly, I mean, there's so much can happen with shipping, and we all know how volatile that market is at the moment. So, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was 3 months. I don't think it'd be too bad, but
Tom, what do you think?
I think they're going to beat it by 2 months.
Okay, folks, you heard it here.
We'll get it in.
Leave it in the comments. Who's right, Dom or Tom? Who is right?
Yeah, listen, I think they have
half glass full, half glass empty.
Right.
Yeah, I just think that they have a lot to prove with this one. Like they got a lot of grief on the last one for all of the issues of shipping again, and not their fault. But this time, I think they really probably want to show that they're going to knock it out of the park. So
I really hope you're right.
All right, closing question in our roundtable. Is there going to be a third Kickstarter down the road, like a late 2024, early 2025 Kickstarter? Are they just going to keep this gravy train rolling? What do you think?
I mean, we were talking about like what does BattleTech look like? I honestly have no idea if they're going to continue with this, or this is the launching point into another business model where they do more direct sales and then they wouldn't do a Kickstarter. I don't know. It's
kind of hard. I mean, they were so successful now twice in a row. They could continue to do this and continue to really, I think, make their lives easier on the distribution side. I think they also had a lot of these designs done ahead of time, right? Which sort of greased the skids. So anyway, Dom, what do you think? Yay or nay?
I think they will do another Kickstarter, but I don't think it will be for another 2 years after the delivery of this mercenary one, because they are so stressful and they're only a small company in the grand scheme of things. So I think they need that buffer period where, like you just said, Aaron, they can do the designs ahead of time and start to kind of get some data on it. But I don't think the Kickstarter model for them is going away anytime soon, just because it's free capital. So why would they do that? So you'd have to go to the bank and get a massive interest rate, or go plead to the IP owner. You can, community funding is a good idea, really.
Agreed. All right. Well, let's wrap up this roundtable. We are going to dive right into the render blender, Tom, your favorite. Blend it up. So we're going to look at a new pack. This was actually posted on Facebook. And this is on Anthony Scroggins' Patreon. Look at this baby.
Beautiful.
So this is what the hell is this one called? The Fire and something Lance. What is it?
Brimstone?
Lots of tanks, Lance.
Fire and Brimstone Lance. Now I gotta scroll up and look. It's like
was it on the Kickstarter
ones.
page?
Oh. It is. It is the.
It'll be near the bottom, I think. It's an unlocked one, is it?
Battle and Fire.
There you go.
Wait a minute. There's
lots of fire.
There's
in
a
there.
battle. There's
Surely
a battle and
fire.
sweep, and there's a battle and fire. That's why I'm getting confused.
Yes.
So this is the battle and
SRM
fire.
and LRM.
Right. Yeah. And before we get into this, I do want to say what's very cool about this lance in particular is that it will come with 4 turrets of each kind, 8 turrets total. So you will get 4 of the SRM turrets and 4 of the LRM turrets. You can make 4 LRM carriers, 4 SRM carriers, 3 in 1, whatever combination you want, which is... Yeah.
Magnetize them.
Magnetize them.
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah,
have
don't-
4 of each.
Well, if they're like the Demolisher, they'll be the ball and socket. They'll just pop in, right?
Yeah.
So, why don't we take a closer look, shall we, Tom?
Blow that baby up. So what do we got? We got SRM, LRM, and Manticore, and what's the other tank? The Manticores are the big boys, right?
Yeah, these are the Manticores,
Yeah.
and then this is a Vedette tank, which recently
Vedette.
redesigned. Very cool. But tell me what you think. This is your blender.
Yeah. Let's start with those SRM carriers. Let's highlight them. Let's circle those bad boys. So they are like carrying around the boom box, right? The old 80s boom box with a tape deck on their shoulder. They're just like showing off for everybody around them. And it's a lot like a boom box. You have to get kind of close to them, and then they're just going to like blow your face off. I mean, and that last battle report we did, those SRM carriers are just so nasty once you get into like medium range. So terror.
Is it 60 SRMs? These 10 times 6 SRMs. That's insane.
Yeah,
it is.
And
it's as bad as that sounds. Seriously.
Yeah.
So the LRMs are like even more. I'm always scared of the long range, so the LRMs scare me. I love the sort of 3-piece, almost like it's so heavy that it's cracked the shell. Very cool. They both of those missile boats look really good, and then probably the Manticore next. Looks again. I love the new sort of scaling on the heavy stuff. They look so good, and they straddle between like a classic tank design and some futuristic elements, but really that almost looks like a modern tank on the battlefield. Very cool.
I love the
and then
one thing I'll call out about this design that I really appreciated was the PPC barrel looks like a PPC. It doesn't look like an autocannon or just some like nondescript tank barrel. It's got that little
like compared to the Vedette,
right, and it sort of matches the mech aesthetic for these weapons. I love that some of the new missiles, right? They have missiles loaded in like the hopper, so you can like paint them a different color, which is always it's like a nice thing to add a little detail to them. Anyway, I love the Manticore. Yes, the armored skirts.
Yeah, and even around the turret, if you see it, they have the individual plates, like very cool. And you see that again on modern tanks when they upgrade, like the Abrams armor. They just pile on a bunch of those little ballistic packs. Very cool.
So cool. It is very cool. I
think it's called a blade of armor, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when the panels blow away. Yeah. I love the cockpit on the Manticore. Like it's like this like command deck under here. You see the little
it's very
very cool.
It's very nice. I'll tell you one thing I love about these new designs.
Please, get into it.
The way that you can, I know it's a bit of a weird thing, but if you've got the old metal miniatures, they're quite difficult to paint because like the recesses in them are really, really shallow. So you can't get your like shades in there properly. But on this, once that is shaded, it will pop so well. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I agree.
That's awesome. And then on the Vedettes, the one thing I wanted to point out, I really like that design. The turret's like real funky looking to me. It's almost like an old like Jaguar, or Jaguar, like the car, like an XJ, because the back is real bulbous, then it comes out like that, or like the Batmobile. But then if you look at where the body of the tank is compared to the treads, it's that cool futuristic where it has like a front heavy design, like the body is shifted forward over the treads. It's very cool. So
it is very cool.
It's got this. It's kind of like a zigzag. It's very cool. I like it.
And I don't know if we can bring up the old artwork, but I do want to show you.
Oh God!
So this is the new artwork. This is the way it used to look. So the turret was like over the top, but what Scroggins did when they redesigned it is they put the turret. They sort of like stacked another layer, which is pretty cool.
And so
they do such a wonderful job
of
keeping the derpy, but making
it look
cool.
But they make it look cool, right?
Yeah.
So
another good example
what's
is
your
the
favorite?
Bulldog.
I gotta go with I don't know. Like it's like most improved player is definitely the Vedette, but the Manticore is still the starting center midfielder here. Like definitely the star player of the team.
What about you, Dom?
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I mean, it just looks amazing. I mean, I have a real affinity for LRM carriers, but I mean, they do look quite standard, right? Like it's just like a box on top of a box, whereas the Manticore looks just incredible. I mean, that looks fierce as well. Like you see them on like tabletop, you're gonna absolutely know that they're there.
I got to give it to the Vedette, and not only for most improved, but also for the most futuristic. I
true.
love that.
That's a fair point.
Classic '80s, what we think it'll look like.
It's true.
I love it. Like I think about Alien, like the movie Alien, and those awesome. Everything's front heavy. I love it. Great job, Scroggins.
Yeah, great job. Great job.
Yeah, this whole set is an A+.
I know. Yeah, I'm excited to get my hands on. I'm gonna buy just as many vehicles as I possibly can. I'm absolutely thrilled with all of these new designs. That said, unfortunately, we do need to wrap this one up. It was a little longer than our usual one, but I will say this: this is actually the end of season 1 of Jump Point. So we did 10. We're going to take a little break. We're going to get some feedback from our patrons, and then we're going to dive into season 2. We've already got a list of exciting topics.
Oh yes,
controversial topics like why wasn't Nikolai Malthus's Thor included in the Somerset Strikers lance? I don't know. So we got all sorts of good stuff lined up.
If we don't get that,
there will be a riot. Yes, most definitely. On all the clan homeworlds, though, so we won't really care that much.
No one cares.
So anyway, a couple of things. Number one, don't forget to subscribe. We know there's 23,000 of you now, so don't forget to click that subscribe button. You can't hide out on the internet anymore. Give us a like, leave us a comment, tell your friends about us, share the videos, help the channel grow alongside BattleTech. And if you want to help out the channel more, you can do a couple of things. Right down below this video, there is a merch shelf. You can buy some sweet threads to sport some DFA gear. You can also come on over to Patreon and help us out there. $1 a month is the minimum to help out the channel. It's all it takes. $1 a month. That's 25 cents a week. Glorious.
$1.
$1. That's it.
I was trying to point to the box. Like, do we have a box somewhere?
There's no box. I should also mention Aries Games and Minis. It is your one-stop shop for all things BattleTech. If you're new to the hobby, you want to know where to get the books, the dice, the minis, terrain, all of the cool things, you can head on over there. They even have carrying cases, battle mats from Frontline Gaming, the whole shebang. So it is a great place. And Derek's a good dude with great and quick shipping. So that said, I'm all done advertising. I have no other further thoughts except for I hope June 2024 comes quickly, so I can get my hands on all these new minis. But that said,
April 2024.
Ooh. Yes. Could be April. Could be April. Could be less than a year, Tom. Could be less than a year. Fingers crossed. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for watching, and of course, stay tuned. Always great stuff coming from Death from Above Wargaming.